guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my September wrap up. I read a total of 7 books in September, which actually I was really pleased with. It's not up to the heights of some of the other months that I've read sort of like during the year, but September has been a really busy month in terms of the fact that I went back to work. It's always a month where I have to readjust to the fact that, you know, I have to go to work basically, and, you know, get back into the routine again, you know, figure out how I'm going to juggle everything basically. Yeah, so it takes me kind of a while to do that when I go back to school in September. I kind of feel like I'm getting there now. So yeah, so perhaps I'll read a little bit more in October, and I do actually have a week off in October as well, so that always adds to it. So I don't think 7 books is too bad really. As always, this is a vlog style wrap up, so the next clips you'll see are from me throughout the month talking about the 7 books that I've read and what I thought of them. So hopefully you enjoy that. Hi guys, so it is Thursday the 6th of September. I haven't yet spoken to you about a book that I've read, and I've read 2 since the beginning of the month. Just back to school, and just all of the gumph that goes with that. Super busy obviously, and I've had a bit of a cold, which is just what you need when you've just come back off of holiday and you've got to get back into the routine again, so that's not been that fun. But a couple of days ago, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Whoa. Okay, so back. A couple of days ago, I finished listening to the audiobook of The Year of Living Danishly. I can't remember who it's by now, but I'll put a picture up on the screen here. And this is one that's been mentioned on BookTube quite a lot. And I think I've mentioned recently that I've really been enjoying listening to non-fiction books. So I thought I would try this one out. Audible were doing some sort of a 2-for-1 offer. Yeah, sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. Just, yeah, anyway. So yeah, I listened to this. This, in case you're not aware, this is basically a non-fiction book where the writer details how her and her husband spent a year living in Denmark and what the experience was like basically. And it sort of ties in with the fact that Denmark is one of the happiest countries in the world, if not the happiest. And so a lot of the book centres around why are these people so happy, what makes them so happy, what makes Denmark unique in that sort of sense. And each chapter is a different month of this year that they're there, so you get to hear about different traditions and different things that happen in Denmark, and the way that Denmark do particular things, and how they go through winter and summer and then back to winter again. And obviously them settling into a new country and a new language and that sort of thing. It was really, really interesting. I don't really know a lot about any of the Scandinavian countries and the way that things work over there, so it was really interesting from that sort of point of view, just delving into a culture that I knew nothing about. And the writer had a really good way of putting across what was going on. She was very humorous at times, and yeah, I just really liked her writing style. So yeah, loved this one, really, really did. I think I gave it 5 stars. I think I did. Just because, again, I think I've said this before in wrap-ups, I was thinking about, well, what would I change about it? And I couldn't really think of anything. So again, it's not literary or anything like that, but really interesting and really well written. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that one. And then I'm reaching, hold on, a couple of evenings ago So I finished the audiobook a few days ago then. And then a couple of evenings ago I finished The Duke and I, and this is by Julia Quinn. I can get this in the frame because this is one of those large print books that I borrowed from the library. This is a historical romance novel, and it's the first in the, I think, the Bridgerton series. And it follows a young woman called Daphne, who is, I think she's sort of 19 or 20, something like that. And she's her mum has, I can't remember what the term is, but she's basically looking for a husband, and she's having a bit of trouble because everybody sees her as a friend and not as romantic, you know, material, as it were. Material is the wrong word, it makes it sound like belonging, but I think you know what I mean. And if she does get attention, romantic attention from men, it's from men that she doesn't want to marry. And then we're also following, I can't remember what her name is, the Duke. I can't remember what his name is. That's ridiculous. Hold on a second. Oh, his name's Simon. So we're also following Simon, who is the new Duke of Hastings, and he's just moved back into the area. And he's convinced that he doesn't want to get married and or have children. And then the two of them meet, and the kind of story goes on from there. I said when I picked this up that I hadn't read any historical romance, and I hadn't up until that point. I've read a Tessa Dare book since, and I really liked that one. I wasn't sure what to make of this, because this is written in the style of like an Austen novel, that sort of thing. Maybe not in the style, well, sort of in the style of an Austen novel. And I was like, and I wasn't sure what to make of, well, what sort of level of romance we're going to get, like that sort of thing. I did really like the story, and I quite like the characters. There were some more steamy moments in here, but steamy's probably the wrong word. So there were sex scenes in here, but I wasn't sure as to how I felt about those. They weren't really steamy, and they were just a little bit flat, actually, which was very strange. But anyway, maybe that maybe suits this particular type of romance novel. I don't really know, to be honest. But I did enjoy it, and I probably would carry on in the series. I wouldn't buy them. I'd try and get these from the library again, or maybe buy them for very cheap on ebook or something like that. But I wouldn't pay it, like, I wouldn't pay loads of money for them, and I wouldn't get physical copies of them myself. I think getting them from the library is enough, basically. So yeah, I ended up giving that one 4 stars. Hi guys, so it is Sunday the 16th of September, and I just finished reading To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is a library book that I have had out, and I've had this on hold since April. I have to say I didn't really like this as much, like anywhere near what I was expecting to. I'm pretty sure you guys know what this is about already, but this is like a YA contemporary novel about this girl called Lara Jean, and she has written letters to all the boys she's loved before. And she keeps them in this hat box above her bed, and one day these letters get mailed out with, you know, without her knowing, and suddenly everybody finds out that she loved them, basically, and it obviously turns her world upside down. So yeah, and obviously with the Netflix movie coming out, or it has come out, this has gained a bit more popularity, but this series is quite popular anyway. And I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was far too immature for me. Obviously I'm not the intended audience, but I can read other YA contemporary and get on absolutely fine with it, but this one I didn't get on with it at all. Yeah, I found it quite immature. I didn't really like the writing style. It was a bit too simple for me. There were just lots of simple sentences and it was just felt a little bit staccato basically. And I didn't really care an awful lot about what was going on, even towards the end. I thought some of the moments in here were a little bit unbelievable. And yeah, I just didn't really like it that much, to be honest. So I will probably give this something like 2 or 2.5 stars. I might see whether my library has the second and the third one and sort of not reserve them but add them to my reading list and maybe reserve them one day. I don't really know, but yeah, I didn't love it at all. I didn't really even like it, to be honest, so yeah, I wouldn't particularly recommend this one, unfortunately. Hi guys, so it is Sunday the 23rd of September and I finished The Complete Mouse, and this is by Art Spiegelman. This is a graphic novel which Art Spiegelman wrote about his dad's experience of being Jewish and going to Auschwitz during World War II. I didn't quite know what to make of this. This is drawn in a very unique style, so let me see whether I can hold up and show you. This is the kind of style that you've got here. So it's black and white, it's very cartoony. So I didn't quite know how well I was going to get on with that, but I quite liked the style, to be honest. Sorry, I'm looking up because my camera's telling me that I'm running out of battery. I may have to go and change that, just 1 second. Okay, that's better, it's not flashing at me anymore. Yeah, so I was saying that I didn't quite know how I was going to get on with the art style because it was quite cartoony, it's black and white, and I didn't know whether that was going to be as engaging to me as it could have been, but I quite liked the art style in the end. The other thing that I really liked about it is what people usually say about it. So the Jewish people are depicted as mice and the Nazis are depicted as cats, and I quite like that metaphor that Art Spiegelman was making. And there were also, what I didn't expect as well was that the graphic novel came out of a series of conversations that Art Spiegelman had with his father towards the end of his life about what happened to him during the war and in the death camps. And there were a lot of panels where it was referring to what happened during those conversations, and that was really nice to see. And the relationship between him and his father, it wasn't roses round the gate, if I put it that kind of way, and I really appreciated that kind of honesty. Yeah, and it was very, very powerful. I didn't cry or anything like that, but I found it really powerful, like I said. So I ended up giving that 4.5 stars. I would definitely recommend it. I've reserved it at the library for my husband now, so yeah, I'm looking forward to when he reads it as well. He's like 8th in the queue though, so it'll be a while before he picks it up. But yeah, really enjoyed that one. Hi guys, so it is Saturday the 29th of September, and I've been meaning to update you guys for ages, but I have had the longest and most tiring week at work. So I had open evening on Tuesday, so I didn't get home until about 8:30. So, you know, there was absolutely no time then at all. Wednesday night, I went on a school trip with some year 10 students to see a production of An Inspector Calls in Cambridge, which was really good. And I got home at about 12 o'clock, yeah, about midnight. So hence to say that was a very late night. And then every single night after work this week that I haven't been involved in those 2 other things, so Monday, Thursday and Friday, I stayed behind until 6 o'clock, which I don't normally stay that late at all, because obviously for us school finishes just after 3 o'clock. So I could, if I wanted to, come straight home every day, but obviously I don't. But I don't normally stay that late, especially in a week where I've had those 2 really late evenings. But I had loads of marking to do, so that's life though. So well, I'm glad that week is over, but I do want to update you on, I've finished 3 things since I spoke to you last. The first of those is, I'll put that in the frame, there we go, it's Sea Prayer by Khaled Hosseini. I bought this about a week and a half ago, I think, and I put this on my new Book Buzz video for, what was it now, like July to September, I think that's right. Khaled Hosseini obviously wrote things like The Kite Runner and things like that, and this is something a little bit different in the fact that it's a children's book, and it's about a father telling his son about his life, about their life and his life in Syria, and they're standing on a beach with some other people and they're waiting to get on a boat to leave Syria and go and live elsewhere. So you've got those really relevant topics to do with the refugee crisis and the terrible things that are going on in Syria at the moment, and sort of countries like that. So yeah, so this is a children's story, and it's illustrated by someone called Dan Williams, and the illustrations are really beautiful. I think you can see from the cover they're like watercolour effects. So if I show you an example of one, so this is where they're all on the beach, and it's just absolutely stunning. So I think you can see from that as well that you get very limited text in there. It's a very short story because it's a children's story, but it's very powerful at the same time. So there are no words that are wasted in here, and it really hits home just how these people that are in these situations every single day, you know, how they would feel having to leave their homeland and explain to their children why they're having to leave, and, you know, the situations that they're in and things like that. And I thought it was very, very powerful. When I finished it, I was kind of thinking about the fact that it is a children's book. And I was thinking about how many children would pick something like this up. But then I was thinking, but that's the wrong attitude to have, isn't it? I was thinking, you know, I should really be, you know, doing things like this, promoting reading this on my channel and talking about it with other people, and insisting that there's a copy of it in my school library and things like that, even though, you know, I work at a secondary school, it's a bit different, you know, and buying a copy of it for my nephews perhaps and things like that, because that's the point, isn't it, that we should be promoting books like this, and we should be putting these books into the hands of lots and lots and lots of children, because they should be reading about experiences like this. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I gave this, I think, 4.5 stars in the end. Wasn't quite a 5-star read for me, I think, because, yeah, I don't really know why, but it was really, really good, and it is a very pretty book, and I will really enjoy having this on my shelf. Then let's move it a little bit so I'm in a bit of a, there we go, in a bit of a different light. The second book that I finished since I've spoken to you last, I finished yesterday. So I finished the audio book to Wild by Cheryl Strayed, which I have read in physical form before, but I purchased a copy of the audio book from Audible over the summer. They were having a, was it a 2-for-1 sale? I think it was, or maybe it was a 3-for-2 sale or something like that. I think it might have been a 2-for-1 sale, and I needed to use one of my credits, so I took advantage of it and I bought that and The Year of Living Danishly which I read last month and really enjoyed. So yeah, I have already read this before, and I'm sure if you've been watching my channel for a while, you have probably heard me say that Wild is one of my favourite books. So I was really interested to read it again, and to read it in a different format, to listen to the audiobook of it. It isn't narrated by Cheryl Strayed, it's narrated by another lady whose name escapes me, but I will try and leave a link to it in the description box down below. But I thought the woman who did narrate it did a really good job. She had, you know, I've talked before on my channel about how I can't listen to an audiobook if the voice irritates me, for obvious reasons. So but her voice was really good. She told the story really well, and she told it in such a way that I believed it was Cheryl that was talking. That sounds a little bit strange, but I think you kind of know what I mean. I did really enjoy listening to it and reading it for the second time. It's been about 4 or 5 years, I think, since I read it the first time. So yeah, it was interesting kind of picking up on lots of details that I'd forgotten, obviously, and yeah, just experiencing and thinking about why I liked it so much the first time, and then, you know, whether my thoughts were the same this time. And they are the same this time. I would say I'd forgotten an awful lot of the details in there, and I was actually waiting for different moments of the film to occur in the book. And it's interesting because obviously I watched the film after I'd read the book, and there'd been a bit of a gap in between those two, so I think I'd forgotten some of the differences between the two. But I have seen the film a lot more recently, so it's still very fresh in my mind. So I was sort of waiting for those moments to come up, and then sort of thinking about how the book is how they've made different choices in the film than Cheryl made with the book. But it's very good. It's a very inspirational book. It's a very motivational book in the sense that, you know, I mean, I just admire her so much. You know, she spent all of that time on the PCT. She went through, you know, so many things earlier in her life, like with her mother dying and things like that. And, you know, to actually achieve something so momentous like that is incredible. I mean, I hesitate to kind of say it. I would like to do something like that. I don't know whether I ever will, but the idea of it really appeals to me. Yeah, just absolutely incredible. And she had some really good insights into different things about, you know, life and philosophizing and things like that, and I just really enjoyed it. So I gave it 5 stars again. I would recommend the audiobook, definitely. There's a link in my description box down below to where you can go and get a 30-day free trial for Audible. So if you're not signed up to Audible and that's something that you're interested in, then please use that link. Yeah, so that's the second book that I wanted to talk to you about. I'll switch arms again. And then this afternoon, I finished off reading a Sarah Morgan book called First Time in Forever. I won a copy of this on Twitter over the summer, and this is book number 1 in the Puffin Island series. This is a romance novel, basically. It's published by Harlequin, and it tells the story of Emily and Ryan. And at the beginning of the book, Emily has had to escape to Puffin Island. There's a house that one of her friends owns, and so she's staying there for a little while, and she's escaped there because her half-sister died and left behind a child, and her half-sister was a very famous actress. And so the press has sort of been after, you know, trying to see where this girl has gone and things like that. So she basically bundles her into the car and takes her away to Puffin Island, because she has been named in the will as the person to take responsibility for the child. I think that's correct. Anyway, there's nobody else to take care of her anyway. So she takes her to Puffin Island, and when she's there she meets a guy called Ryan, who has been asked by her friend to kind of look out for her while she's there, and it's obviously about the relationship that develops between the two of them. I would say for the first about 100 pages of this, I wasn't enjoying the writing as much as when I read the first book in her Manhattan series, maybe because that's one of her later books, and you know, she's a better writer now or whatever. But after that 100 pages was up, I was really engrossed in the storyline, and yeah, it just went from there for me. I really did enjoy it, and I've just ordered the next 2 books in the series. It's a trilogy, because the other 2 books follow her 2 friends, so the friend that owns the cottage and this other friend, there's like the trio of them that are best friends. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, and whether we get to see some more of Emily and Ryan in books 2 and 3, because obviously that would be really lovely as well. I really enjoyed it as well because it's set on this really sweet island, and it's surrounded by water and the beach, and it's like island life and, you know, lovely community and that sort of thing, and that was really lovely to read as well. So yeah, would definitely recommend that one if you're into romance, contemporary, that sort of thing. Sarah Morgan is fast becoming one of my favourite authors when it comes to that particular genre. Yeah, would definitely recommend that, and I gave that one 4 stars. So there we go, guys. They were all of the books that I read in September. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these books, and what did you think of them, and what were some of the books that you read in September? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.